Hi, I'm Eric Westreich, and you're watching Startup Show San Diego, a startup TV show about startup companies. Together, we celebrate startup heroes and leaders and grow our startup ecosystem to create even more. For the next half hour, we'll connect you with the fun and culture of the startup community, with inspirational stories, and with the tools and resources that startup companies need to succeed. This week, we're at San Diego Startup Week, and you absolutely don't want to miss this special startup industry episode. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Eric Westreich. We're here at San Diego Startup Week, and we're here at EvoNexus with startup superhero Austin Neudecker. And quickly, how's Startup Week going?
It's going great. So we've already had our first day behind us. And in that day, we had our first, I'd say 20, 25 events. And the party last night, which was the opening party, was, I would say, the highlight thus far of Startup Week. Maybe 1,000, 1,500 attendees. We had some aerial acrobats swinging from the ceiling. We had some food trucks. It was a pretty lively event, and we're pretty happy about the turnaround.
I was looking for you on those aerial swings. I didn't see you.
No, not my thing.
But the ones that were up there were pretty athletic, I thought.
They were, yeah. And I guess another highlight of the first day was really that the mayor, despite the tragedy that happened in Orlando, he really made a concerted effort to come out and open up the week with about 15 startups and give a press conference just to show the support from our local, our local politicians about how important this is for them too.
And I noticed we have more tracks this year.
We do.
I
That's
noticed
right.
there was a brew track coming upstairs in this building.
Yeah. So as you know, last year we experimented the first time with a track system, and this year we've expanded that track system. So we now have 10 different tracks, which we kind of cluster our different activities around. That starts from both the life cycle of a company, so everything from, are you a company that just has an idea, you're with the idea stage? Are you a seed stage company, someone that already has got a little bit of traction, got your MVP out and you've already built a team, but you're trying to scale it? Or you're at a growth stage company, someone that's already got quite a team, you've got some investment behind you, and how do you grow faster? Those are the life cycle tracks. Then we've got, of course, a social track, which is all of our big events at the night. We've got a functional track around developers and designers, 2 separate tracks. And then we've got some new industry tracks. These industry tracks are about industries that San Diego does really well. So we've got a biotech, medtech track. Yeah. We've got a brew tech track, as you mentioned, to talk about all the local breweries and the technology behind them. We've got a cross-border track, which celebrates our relationship with the Cali-Baja broader region that we've established as a good relationship between Mexico and here. And then, of course, we've got our cybersecurity/defense track, talking about the defense industry in town.
So we've mentioned that one way this year differs from all past years is more tracks.
Yep.
How else is this year different from previous years, and how many previous years has there been?
Yeah, so this is our 4th year, and kind of if we just kind of go back in history, the first year that we did it, we had just 10 different events. We had about 300 people show up, and there was kind of a small group of us running that week. And since there, it's doubled every year. So the next year, we had about 15, 20 different events. We had about 800 attendees. The following year was the first year we did the track system. We had about 1,500 attendees. This year we're looking at about 2,500 to 3,000 attendees in total, and 150 different events. So the way that it's different is really just the sheer enthusiasm of the ecosystem, more different industries, more people, more startups being involved.
So give us the highlights. What do we have left to look forward to this week?
So I'm super excited about a lot of things. Tonight's talk by Mark Sister is going to be a great talk, but I love the Startup Crawl every year. It's been one of the most favorite events. What we do is we start as a big group in the Horton Plaza Park, and then we'll go out in small groups to all sorts of startups all around San Diego, downtown area, and drink beer and get to see their different startup spaces and make our way to a closing party that evening. And then on Friday, we've got a great fair that's lined up. We've got about 75 companies that are going to be in the Courtyard Park displaying what they do, and then we'll have a couple live bands. We'll have some stilt walkers, so we'll have a good time to kind of close out the week.
So, thank you for the update. There's still time to get down and see lots of stuff. There's stuff every day it's running, and the Startup Crawl is one of my favorites, and we'll be covering that, so you'll see pictures and video on that too. So thank you. We'll be back in just a moment with more.
Hi, it's Christine Takar with MS Realty Services, and I'm excited to be here at the start of San Diego Startup Week. We are hosting 75 events at 3 of our buildings. That's 1 Columbia Place, 701B, and 707 Broadway. So I hope to see you there, and come hang out between sessions at our terraces at 1 Columbia Place.
Very excited to be here at San Diego Startup Week. Looking forward to all the events, all the activities, and most importantly, getting a chance to meet you. As the founder and CEO of Seismic Software, San Diego Startup Week represents a great opportunity for us to connect with potential employees and also raise the awareness of San Diego as an excellent software scene.
Hi, welcome back. Again, we're here with Austin Neudecker, startup superstar. And I say that because before I even knew who you were, before I knew that you were a Wharton and MIT graduate, before I knew that you were a venture capital investor, before I knew you'd done startups, everywhere I went there was this guy that everybody seemed to be gathering around, and almost everywhere you were helping somebody.
It kind of started when I came back to San Diego. So I had actually lived and started businesses in Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. And when I returned to San Diego, I'm actually a native San Diegan, I felt like the ecosystem was very siloed. There were a lot of great things happening, but people were kind of protective of their own fiefdoms. And it wasn't just me, it was a group of us. Melanie Gordon from Tap Hunter, Brant Cooper, Eric Otterson, a group of us came together and said, we think this needs to change, and we think we can do something about it. So when we got together, we said, let's start an organization that really is the voice of the entrepreneur, that sits above all of this little bickering and really tries to help get startups the resources they need when they need it to be successful. And hopefully we're trying to just raise the level of discussion, raise the speed at which people get to either a success or maybe a failure, but at least they're getting the resources they need to get there. And that was the birth of Startup San Diego, and since then it's grown significantly. Getting buy-in from a lot of the different organizations in town has taken some time. At first, you're not immediately trusted. You're kind of like the new kid on the block among some great organizations that have been around for a long time. And so for them to kind of trust us and see that we're all in it for the same purpose, we're all trying to make a better ecosystem here, took some time, and I think that we're now at the stage where we're all helping and collaborating together.
And Startup San Diego's been designed as a nonprofit organization, so everybody putting on this huge event does something else. For example, besides being a mentor and resident here at EvoNexus, which supports a lot. Your desk is right behind us.
Yes.
There, if we could move the sign, rev.com. So you have a day job.
I do. Yeah, so I think those are both great points. I'll address them each, which is that this is an organization built by volunteers. We're all volunteers. It's a nonprofit organization. We've all got day jobs. Almost all of us have our own companies that are on the side, and we're trying to build those. But we see the importance of building that community where we can all help each other, really. And, a startup, you need a support group because it's a roller coaster, and when you're in one of those pits, you need to have your friends that kind of pick you up.
Kind of finishing up, where do you see it going? What's in the future for this marketplace and Startup San Diego? Yeah,
so Startup San Diego, we've kind of retranched on, are we really going to be another events organization in town, or are we going to be something different? And I think where we're headed is, to continue to do some of our events only where we see gaps in the ecosystem, but really that's not our strong suit. Our strong suit is being that voice of the entrepreneur, is really trying to advocate for the entrepreneur and in their relationship with investors, in their relationship with each other, in their relationship with customers, and really try to help, like I said, them either succeed or fail as quickly as they possibly can. So that's our goal.
And we're seeing a lot of interaction, not just with what we talk about with the entrepreneur industry organizations. The universities are here.
Right.
Education and academia is here. And like you said, the mayor kicked this event off, so government is here. In fact, we've got be interviewing government people in a show this week. So any final words?
Yeah, well, I'll address that quickly, which is for me, one of the most important things is getting the students to be more participatory in our ecosystem. So we're all making strides to get the UCSD students, SDSU, USD, et cetera, these students to come out and be a part of Startup San Diego, to be part of EvoNexus, to be part of a lot of the programs in here so we can keep that great talent in town after they graduate.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, and
my pleasure.
And
thank
you for everything you're doing, and of course for San Diego Startup Week, one of my best events, including the startup crawl. We're there, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh Commenda, founder and president of Veo. We're really excited to be here this week and to be a sponsor of San Diego Startup Week. Every year this gets better and better as we build this community together. We're really excited this week for the pub crawls, the sessions, the events, the fireside chats. I'd really encourage all of you to get involved and let's build this community together.
Welcome back. We're here at Startup Week, San Diego Startup Week, and we're here with Eric Gasser of Seed San Diego, one of the co-founders. So first of all, welcome to the Startup Show San Diego.
Sure, I'm glad to be here. It's an exciting week.
So you got any good plans for today? Anything exciting? Launch party?
This interview is the highlight. It was the highlight. Yeah, it should be. No, I've got sessions scheduled all week. So today I think a big one is going to be really what the mayor has to say about the ecosystem of San Diego.
How do people find you?
You can go to seedsandiego.com and you can kind of read about portfolio companies that we've invested in already. You can apply for financing, and you can read a little bit about the founding partners.
If someone asked you of all the things that you've done, of all the things that Seed San Diego does, what are you most proud of? I think
it's still we're still in the development stage, right? So we're a startup all by ourselves. I mean, it's been just about 2 years now. We've realized we've kind of gone through the chaos period of time, which is the very early stages, trying to figure out where we best fit in. So I think if I had to point to one thing as being something we're proud of, it's actually putting resources into San Diego. So we've financed probably over 75 companies based in San Diego over the last 5 years between the 5 partners. And we've had some really good success stories, not so good success stories, but I think we've found that one of the leading indicators to a successful company is really finding and structuring a mentor and advisory board that can kind of bring the talent out of San Diego that's either retired here, formed companies here, or have exited here, and allow them to apply that skill set to some of these earlier stage companies.
Awesome. So you mentioned partners. How many partners are there?
So Seed San Diego is basically a group of 5 of us. We deploy our own capital, so we write individual checks. We don't have a fund. So essentially, we actually go out, source great deals, and write checks on behalf of ourselves.
And how did you guys meet?
So originally, there was Allison Long, Tenair, and myself, and there was one other gentleman, Ken Truesdale. We actually met through a series of events. Tech Coast Angels was one of them, was a group that we all had belonged to. We'd also met at social events, things like that. We realized that we were tracking the same companies and had similar values. After about a year of kind of the dance, we decided that we would kind of form a group that focused solely on San Diego, great mentors empowering some of the early stage companies in San Diego, and that's basically Seed San Diego was born.
So you guys like Shark Tank, where one of you writes a check, or you go in and
No,
team up and write
not
checks?
at all, not at all. So how we function is basically, I could give you the story on how it works, but it's not that complicated. Basically, you meet one of the 5 of us. We bring you in. We have weekly meetings. It's not really Shark Tank, though I love Shark Tank. Don't get me wrong. We co-invest with some of the folks on Shark Tank, which is great. So anyways, if one of us invests, you become a portfolio company, and you basically get all the resources of the 5 of us.
5 years from now, 1 to 5 years, you and I are doing this interview, or we're meeting at a pub, and I ask you, what is the one thing that you're most proud of over those 5 years for the startup ecosystem? What do you think your answer will be?
I think it's showing that at any stage of development of any early stage company that you can actually build a business around it, and you can be successful in San Diego.
Eric, thank you very much. Thank
Absolutely.
you for your time.
No problem.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Mike Anderson. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and founder of Telium. We're a software company here in San Diego. We're based out of San Diego. Our main headquarters is here, and I'm excited to be a part of San Diego Startup Week to see more entrepreneurs and talented individuals connect themselves with good budding companies in the San Diego area.
Great, I'm Phil Borland from Pluralsight. I'm the Director of Engineering down here in our San Diego office. And we couldn't be more excited about being here at Startup Week. And we sponsored this because we like to hire entrepreneurs into our staff and like to kind of give back to the community. And I think some of the same energy that we feel here, we feel it in the community. And we're just very proud to be sponsoring that.
Welcome back to EvoNexus and Startup Week. And we're here with Greg McKee from Connect, which is a real privilege because the first interaction I ever had with startups was at a Connect event. So that was my introduction. So tell us just a little bit about yourself and what you do at Connect.
Sure. So I've been at Connect for the last couple of years. I'm the president and chief executive officer. It's been such an incredible, short journey, short and quick 2 years. But we've been really focused on trying to get Connect pointed towards the entrepreneur and providing them access to all the resources they need to be highly successful. So we've re-engineered all of our programs to be a lot more effective and a lot more on point for our entrepreneurs here locally.
Fantastic. How did you get bit by the entrepreneur startup bug, and why San Diego?
Sure. So for me, my journey started quite a while back when I was on the trading floor of what's now part of Union Bank of Switzerland. We were trading Japanese equity warrants and having a great time. The market was all complete chaos, which is when you have the most fun being a trader.
And that might be when you need to learn to speak Japanese.
Could be a helpful little tool. Yeah, a little side note there, right? Yeah. So but I realized that although it was really exciting and everyone was doing very well, and a lot of things were happening in Japan at that time, I realized there's a lot more to the ecosystem, a lot more to the economy that really helped it to grow and scale. And to me, I realized at that moment I had this aha moment of thinking that it's really about 3 critical ingredients for early stage companies. One is a phenomenal or a set of technologies. Secondly, access to a little bit of money, some capital, and thirdly, and probably most importantly, a set of great entrepreneurs around that. And I realized, and I said to myself, boy, if you work on those 3 things, those 3 key elements, you have got a great company in the making. So my journey at Connect really started back then, many years ago on that trading floor.
Great. And things have been going on. You haven't been at Connect in the head chair that long, but long enough to do some pretty significant things. So what are you most proud of that you've done so far?
Well, I got to say I'm most proud of our team. Our team has been absolutely incredible. When I got to Connect 2 years ago, I realized a couple of different things. First of all, it's such a got a phenomenal legacy with Dwayne Roth as the former head, with Bill Otterson, the founder, with his deep roots to UC San Diego. But I realized, as with anything, that it needed to be refreshed, needed to be updated a little bit. And the first thing that we embarked on was putting together a really phenomenal team. So we pulled together a great team. We also got very, very focused on a handful of initiatives, and we've updated, nearly everything except for the name, on the front door. It was really kind of funny. I was at a dinner, and the comment after we kind of went through everything was that, boy, well, it looks like that old Oldsmobile that my dad used to drive. I said, sure. The outside might look like the old Oldsmobile, but if you check under the hood, it's completely different.
Tesla.
It's like a Tesla.
Inside.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good Tesla. Good choice.
Yes. Yeah.
And going ahead, what do you think your biggest challenges are now that you've got a new team, you've got an existing history of good experience? What's your biggest challenge now?
I would say there's kind of two things. So one is there's so many great things happening here, locally in San Diego. So I know you talk about it in your show, but we still need some external access, right? We still need to pull outside resources, I think, here. And that to me is going to if you sort of look down the road a little bit, I think we're going to be finding a lot more outside capital. I think we're going to be finding a lot more larger, global 1,000 corporations spending time here. San Diego is this treasure of innovation that I think most people haven't even figured out exists. And I'd say, our ambition at Connect is to be one small piece of helping bring those outside resources here to help support the great work of our entrepreneurs.
So let's get out your crystal ball. And you're holding your crystal ball and you're saying, you think outside. Can you name any specifics you think are going to happen over the next 4 years? What is your prediction?
Sure. So I think, first of all, I think there's going to be a lot more alignment. There's so many great organizations and events and programs around, but I think that what I see is a lot more alignment, a lot more driving towards similar goals among those organizations. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Two, I do think that we're going to see a big inflow of capital resources. If you look at other parts of the sort of startup communities around the country, up north, for example, in Silicon Valley, I think that they're going to begin to realize, and other places around the country are going to begin to realize what a gem this really is, and how great the valuations are, how creative the entrepreneurs are, how much great research there is here, and what great bargains there are in terms of investment opportunities.
And of course, a great place to find out all that is San Diego Startup Week.
That's right.
Thank you so much. We'll be back with more right after this.
Really excited to be one of the sponsors of this year's Startup San Diego. Really excited about Tacos with 10 Air. It's a big event for all of us, especially here at Seed San Diego.
Welcome back. We've talked a lot about EvoNexus, and EvoNexus is a critical part of San Diego Startup Week. You've seen it in the background, and it's only fair that we have one of the two people that on a day-to-day basis probably do more to run this place. And we have Kayla Trotwine, who's a senior portfolio manager for EvoNexus. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So you're working in a very startup entrepreneurial place.
Yes.
How did the startup bug happen for you?
So entrepreneurship has always been in my blood. My father's a serial entrepreneur, so it's something that I've always thought about. But during college, it was never really on the table for me. I never really explored how to start my own company. So by chance, I got connected with a few individuals from my high school, from home, that were starting a company, and it kind of just worked out that I joined them in the finance role. So I was doing things like accounting, financial strategy. What I didn't realize was how hard it was to start a company. I was blissfully unaware of how hard it was. And so I did that for about a year. I actually attended some of the Startup Week San Diego mentor hours back 3 years ago.
EvoNexus, the organization, is not just here. You have other locations, correct?
Correct. So we're currently in the downtown San Diego location, but we do have one in La Jolla and then another one in Irvine. So we have 3 total.
Very nice. And what do you find is the biggest challenge in keeping all this going?
So I think it's kind of a plus and minus. We're able to cater to so many different types of technologies. We have cybersecurity, we have life sciences, medical devices, and so with around 50 companies incubating at a time on average, for me, the challenge is connecting the dots and understanding where everyone's at, what everyone needs, what their daily challenges are. But again, it's a positive because we get to work with so many different minds and get to cater to all those different industries.
And taking care of all these companies, and I guess twice a year you select new companies to come in?
Correct.
And how long does a company usually hang out for?
Yeah, so on average, companies are with us between 12 and 18 months. Which is a little bit different than the typical accelerator model. Many accelerators have kind of like a 4-month boot camp. For us, we realize that many of our companies are working on really tough science, and so we want to get them to a point where they're sustainable, not just 4 months and out. We want to get them to a point where they have recurring revenue, they have enough fundraising that they can kind of leave the nest, and we're comfortable feeling like we actually made a difference in their business.
What's the toughest challenge you personally had in trying to run this place?
So I think again it relates back to so many different companies keeping track of things, studying different industries outside of work just to so I can ask the right questions. You don't have to know everything about how a company's science works, but you have to be able to ask them the tough questions that kind of get them thinking outside of the box as well.
Great. Obviously, it takes a lot to run this kind of thing. How do your partnerships work in running something this big?
Right, so for those of you who don't know, we're actually a nonprofit. So we don't take any equity or fees from the startups, and that's a big deal. We provide all the office space, all the internet, broadband, all that for free. And so we are sponsorship based. So Irvine Company Office Properties, they're the largest real estate developer in California. They actually provide us all our space.
Let's take a moment and look in your crystal ball. What does the next 1 to 3 years look like for EvoNexus?
Yeah, so I think we're going to keep growing. We've gotten a lot of great press this past year, and I think a lot of that has to do with the level of support that our volunteers provide the startups. The mentorship's really great, and so it's pushing the startups to be better and better. We just broke $1 billion in funding since 2009, so that was huge for us. So I think we're going to continue to grow, but I think as far as advice for the startups that may apply to EvoNexus, because it's getting easier to start a company with little capital, outsourcing different functions like HR and payroll and keeping headcount low, it's really important that you stay above the noise. And so for us, when we look at companies, even if you're software, we need to see something that's defensible. We need to see, what's your secret sauce that makes it impossible for someone to do what you're doing. So I think that landscape is going to get more competitive from that perspective.
Well, thank you for being here, and also thanks for everything you do. You and Kate have been very supportive in setting all this up and doing all these interviews we've been doing this week. So come by, check out EvoNexus. If they want to apply, how do they do that?
So you can go on our website. We have a sample application online, and then the official app round begins August 1st.
August 1st. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching this special Startup Industry episode of Startup Show San Diego. We'll see you next time.